let's talk about South Korea's low birth rate, which we talk about many times, right? Has many causes, but let's talk about this angle, biology.
So social issues, of course, affect one's choice to have children. But then what about when you choose to have children, but essentially your body won't let you, aka the fertility issues.
Right.
So according to the Health Insurance Review and Assessment Service, in the last 5 years, the number of people who have received fertility treatments spiked up by 29%.
Wow.
So let's break this down by category. Major factor, age, a majority being in his or her 30s at 209,000,
Okay.
followed by people in their 40s and even some in their 20s. Women were in the majority, although not overwhelmingly, at 185,000 to 106,000 men.
Oh.
Meaning, of course, this is an issue that affects both genders.
Yes.
Fertility treatments, now a 303 billion won industry.
Right. But, let's get a definition of this. What exactly is infertility?
Right. So infertility, medically we call that purim, also danim as well. In the medical sense, it is a problem getting pregnant or even maintaining your pregnancy. So
Right,
your pregnancy ending up in miscarriages and that continuing for a long time. This, again, can happen to both women and men. And there are comprehensive causes, whether it be environmental, disease, or genetic. Apparently, about 10 to 15% of infertility cases are due to unknown reasons.
Right. And I think that's so difficult to hear. If you're getting treatment for that, they don't know the reason.
Right.
And so why are we seeing such a spike in infertility cases?
Right. So according to those in the medical field, the age at which one becomes pregnant or gets married or tries to have children,
Right.
that age has been getting consistently older.
Right.
And experts say, therefore, even if you don't have plans to have a baby right now or even get married, it is important to be cognizant of your own body and possible fertility issues.
Right.
Because with any medical condition, early detection is key. So the government actually provides support for up to 3 fertility tests for people between the ages of 20 and 49, regardless of your marital status.
Oh, so if you fit into this age group and you're wanting children, please get checked out. What's this one about?
All right, it is about giving. Lunar New Year's fruit donor in Gwangju. So this is the fruit man who kind of rings in the Lunar New Year every year.
Sure.
So every year for the past 15 years, the community center in Hanam-dong in Gwangju has received a delivery of fruit for the region's less fortunate.
Oh.
So this anonymous donor sent over 30 boxes of pears, and this year it was his 28th fruit donation. It all started back in January of 2011 when this guy dropped off, at that point, it was rice, 35 sacks of 20 kilos of rice in front of the community center. And the following year, he changed the donations to fruit. And since 2014, the community center receives about 50 boxes of various fruits every Lunar New Year and in Chuseok. So the people in the community started to call him the 과일 천사, the fruit angel. And then there was a concern because in Chuseok of 2024, he didn't come. So they were like, is he okay?
Okay.
But the thing is, because he's anonymous, they didn't know how to track him down.
Okay.
Thankfully, he came back the following year with a note saying, hey, I'm sorry I wasn't able to come last year. He has donated 1,279 boxes of fruit in the past 15 years.
Wow.
So the community center says this is kind of an unofficial marking to start off the holidays for them. And as to his identity, it's not their job to find out who he is, but to make sure that this so-called fruit angel, spirit of giving, is distributed to those in need within the community.
Right. And I love the fact that it's fruit because it's like for other welfare services, rice is common, but then fruit is so expensive these days.
Especially during the holidays, but it really adds that spirit, the mood, the festivity.
I agree. During the Lunar New Year holiday, we saw an odd spike in robberies at jewelry stores, right?
Right. So in Korean, we call them kumunbang, like literal gold and silver stores. And this might have to do with the value of gold having spiked as well. So in Korea, we measure this in a unit called 돈. 1돈, 1 돈 is 3.75 grams.
Right.
So for that unit, now it's over 1 million won. So on February 14th, so the very beginning of the long holiday weekend, at around 4:30 in the morning, a fish truck just rammed into a jeweler's 금은방, and the suspect, a man in his 40s, also allegedly stole this truck. He allegedly took 31 pieces of jewelry, about 8 million won worth, and just ran. So he, I guess, thought this through and took 5 different taxis. Got in one, got out, got into one to evade the police. Well, but this is the land of CCTV. People get caught.
Yes.
So he ended up getting caught about 18 hours later. He admitted to the theft and told the police that he stole the goods because he had been struggling financially from business failures.
Well, other cases involve teenagers, I hear.
Right, so this first suspect was in his 40s. Others are teens. On the day of Lunar New Year's,
Okay.
2 teens went to a local jeweler's pretending to be customers, it seems. They took 2 gold bracelets, so each was worth about like 10 tons, so 37.5 grams. They were caught about 3 hours later. These kids were quick. They had already sold the bracelets at about 8 million won, which is under the actual value of gold, and had already spent about 100,000 won, so 10만 won.
Okay.
3 other teens in a separate case also allegedly took 10 million won worth of gold jewelry at a shop in Incheon.
Oh, no.
So the police is warning that these jewelers may be becoming targets because of, again, the increased value of gold. So be aware.
So now we're going to move on to the Olympics. One thing that set this year apart from the others was that for the very first time, the network channels did not cover the games as JTBC had exclusive rights. How did this pan out?
Now we're going to officially talk about it.
Okay.
Honestly, interest level and viewership of the Olympics, and I have statistics and also anecdotal stories, they've been low.
Yeah.
You know, one major reason, although we do have to get this out there, time. The time difference has been rough. The games being in northern Italy, most of the big events are happening at like 3 a.m. And then maybe some at 5 a.m. for the finals, but then most people are not up.
Yes.
Another big issue, the games are only on 1, maybe 2 channels, JTBC and JTBC Sports. So JTBC is a cable channel, and they bought the exclusive rights.
So this is quite different from the way things are usually done.
Right, because we have the cable channels, but then we have the 3 network channels. In Korean, we call that 지상파. So they would be KBS, MBC, and SBS. Usually, the 3 form kind of a coalition, buy the rights together, and then sell the rights, resell them to other cable channels.
Right.
But this year, JTBC bought the exclusive rights, aka they paid more.
Yes.
For the not only this Winter Olympics, but also the 2032 Summer Games and the upcoming 2030 World Cup.
Yes.
So it kind of try to flip the table, try to sell the rights back to the 3 networks, but they failed to reach an agreement basically on the method, but most importantly, the price.
Yes.
So without the overarching coverage by the broader basic networks, it just hasn't been getting a lot of coverage, period.
I agree, and the numbers reflect this.
Right. So again, keep in mind that these were in the wee hours, but according to Nielsen Korea, the ratings for the opening ceremony 1.8%. Let's compare that to the 2022 Beijing Games. KBS, 9.9%. SBS and NBC were in the 4%, lower 4% range.
Right.
Although, again, Beijing is an hour apart from us as opposed to Milan's 8 hours.
Right.
But then, of course, some of the more popular events ratings for JTBC, they did go up to about 10%. But then there's also limitations of, again, 1 or 2 channels airing the events. Only 1 event or 2 events can be shown at a time.
Yes,
and
yes.
there are more than 1 or 2 events going on at once. So when, for example, Chaegaon won that very unexpected gold medal on snowboard halfpipe, this actually wasn't aired live on the main JTBC channel.
Ooh, yeah.
They actually, because she fell, we thought she wasn't going to start. So JTBC made the decision to bump it to JTBC Sports.
Wow.
And then they switched the coverage to short track on the main channel. So a lot of people kind of missed it.
Right. That's so true. And the channels have been at odds, right?
Right. And now there's a spat over the broadcast and covered on the respective news shows.
Right.
So JTBC's flagship newsroom, they accused the networks of passive coverage. And then NBC hit back saying that, well, JTBC only provides us with 4 minutes of footage per day for free. So that's what it is.
Okay.
But then again, ultimately, though, we have to think about the athletes.
I know.
If you're not a short track or a figure skater.
Exactly.
Exactly. At least if when there were 3 channels, there was a chance.
Yes.
But then, they don't get the coverage. Fans at home also missing out on the event.
Thank you so much for all the stories for Wagelwager. So thank you, Haley.